So for today, we're going to try and answer this question. What do I do if there are letters, or pronumerals, which is the mathematical term, on both sides? Something like this one as an example. Now, before we do this example, remember this from last week. When we change sides, we change sign. So if I take a term, in other words, a piece of this equation, and drag it across to the other side of the equal sign, like change sides, I change the sign of it. We're going to use that same idea as we go through solving these, but we're going to add a few other things on top that you need to consider. Here's my equation. 5x minus 9 equals 2x plus 15. There are four terms in that. 5x, the negative 9, the 2x, and the plus 15. They're the four pieces that make up that equation. And I can move some of them around, and that's what I'm going to do. But the question is, what do I do with the fact that I've got letters on both sides? I've got 5x on the left-hand side here, and I've got 2x on the right-hand side. Now this is where my method differs slightly from what you're going to see in the Maths Online video. Okay, because we want to get an answer that says x equals something. So we want to have x on its own on one side of the equation. So I need to get rid of one of these, either the 5x or the 2x. Now in the Maths Online video, they tell you move all of your letters to the left-hand side and all your numbers to the right-hand side. Works, okay, and that's what we're going to do in this example. But I'm going to give you a different technique. For me, what I like to do is say, look at which one of these is smaller. 2x is smaller than 5x. We're going to move the small one. Okay, there's a reason why I like to do it this way. We'll explain it as we get into the next example. We're going to move this small one. So we're going to take this 2x. Oh, sorry, before we do that, we've also got two sets of numbers, negative 9 and 15. All right, we'll get to them in a minute. So I'm going to take my 2x, which is the smaller, 5x and 2x, that's the smaller one, and I'm going to move it to the other side. And remember, when I change sides, I change sign, so that 2x will become a negative 2x. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the numbers this time, except I definitely want to get rid of this number, because I want to, now that I've got all my x's on the left-hand side, I want to end up with all my numbers on the other side. So I'm going to take the negative 9, I'm going to change sides, but it will become positive 9, because change sides, I change the sign. And hopefully you can see now I've got all my letters on one side, all my numbers on the other side, and now I can just tidy up those like terms. 5x minus 2x gives me 3x, and on the other side of the equal sign, 9 plus 15 is 24. Now hopefully you can see we're at a point which is just like what we did last week. I've got one step now to solve this, right? To get rid of the times 3, because that's what's happening here, isn't it? X times 3. The opposite of timesing by 3 is divide by 3. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. The reason I do that is that these 3's now cancel out. So on my left-hand side, all I have is the x, and on the right-hand side, I have 8. So x equals 8. Good job, you solved it. All right. So there were two steps in that. The first one was rearranging to get all the letters on one side, numbers on the other. Now, like I said in the Maths Online video, he tells you to bring all the letters to the left. I don't want you to do that. You find whichever works for you, and I'm going to explain why. Let's say I had this equation here. Minus 3b minus 3 equals 7b minus 4. I want to get an answer that just says b equals something. That's to solve it. What does b equal? Now, if you bring all the letters to the left, you'll drag this 7b over, and we'll end up with a negative 10b. From there, we start doing division and stuff with negative numbers, which can get a bit confusing. So I want you to stick to, this is my way, you choose what works for you. But my way says, look, I'm just going to find which is the smallest one, and that's the one I'm going to drag. So negative 3b is a smaller number than 7b, because remember, negative numbers are small numbers. So negative 3b is smaller than the 7b, so I'm going to drag that negative 3b across. Okay. So I'm going to take that negative 3b, and I'm going to drag it across to the other side. When I change sides, I change sign, it becomes a positive 3b. Now that I've got my b's all on one side, I need to get this number here, the negative 4, across to the other side. So I'm just going to drag it, change sides, I change sign, and now I can tidy up my like terms. Okay, and I get on the right hand side, I've got 7b plus 3b is 10b, and on the left hand side, I've got 1, because plus 4 take away 3 gives me 1. All right, I've got this down to 1 equals 10b. From here, it's just similar to what we did in the last question, right? To get rid of the 10 here in front of the b, I divide both sides by 10, because this is b times 10. The opposite is divide by 10. The 10s cancel out, and I'm left with an answer of 1 over 10 equals b. One last little thing though is that you kind of think, well, hang on, don't I want an answer that says b equals something? Well, that's exactly what we've got. We've just got it around the other way. It doesn't matter. I can switch those around. I can pivot them on the equal sign and get b equals 1 over 10. Okay, it doesn't matter how I say that. Like, it's the same whether it's 1/10 equals b or b equals 1/10. It's the same thing, right? By doing it that way, we didn't have to divide by a negative number, which we would have had to do when you watch the Maths Online examples. You'll see they end up dividing by negative numbers. You find what works for you. Personally, I prefer to say, which is the smallest pronumeral, drag it. Then I never really end up having to divide by negative numbers. One last pro tip that I want to give you, if you do end up with some negatives, there's a little pro tip that you can do with any mathematical equation. What if you ended up with something like this, negative x equals 7, but we're trying to find x, not negative x. Here's your pro tip. You can go through and change the sign of every term in an equation. As long as you do it to every term, you're okay. So I could change that negative x to an x. I could change the 7 to a negative 7. And now I've got x equals negative 7, which is what I'm trying to do when I solve. So if I just end up with a negative, I can change it as long as I change every piece. One more example to show you what I mean. Negative b equals 2b plus 8. I want this to be a b, not a negative b. So I can change the sign of this as long as I change the sign of this piece and this term here. So I'll end up with is b equals negative 2b, negative 8. And now I've got the b on its own in its positive form. All right, hope that all made sense. Go through, watch the Maths Online videos as well. And like I said, use the method that works for you. They're both essentially doing the same thing. The only difference is which direction you drag the letters. All right, you guys are awesome, and we'll see you soon.